Most of us are taught that early religious history is a series of spiritual miracles and divine guidance. But what if I told you that one of the most pivotal moments in the expansion of Arabia looked less like a sermon and more like a 7th century heist movie? We are going back to the year 628 AD, to a place called Khaybar. It was the wealthiest Jewish oasis in the desert, the Fort Knox of ancient Arabia. By the time the dust settled, a tribal leader would be tortured, a hidden treasure would be seized, and a woman would be married to her captor while her husband's blood was still fresh on the sand. How does a messenger of God justify using fire to find hidden gold? Today, we investigate the cold, hard business of the Battle of Khaybar. Fakir fi al-amr. Think about it.
To understand Khaybar, you have to understand the economic state of the early Muslims. They had migrated to Medina with nothing. Their livelihood, as Muhammad famously stated, was under the shade of the spear. But after several years of conflict, they needed a massive infusion of capital. Khaybar was the answer. It wasn't just a town, it was a collection of high-tech agricultural fortresses. It was also the home of the Banu Nadir, a tribe that had been expelled from Medina and carried with them a legendary hoard of wealth known as al-Kanz, the treasure. This wasn't just a few silver coins. We are talking about a massive collection of gold, jewelry, and the ancestral wealth of a nation. History tells us that Muhammad didn't just want the oasis for its dates, he wanted al-Hadaf, the target. He wanted the gold.
When the fortresses of Khaybar fell, the Muslims searched everywhere for the treasure of the Banu Nadir. But the hoard was missing. Muhammad summoned the leader of the tribe, a man named Kinana ibn al-Rabi. Now, pay attention to the primary sources. According to Sirat Rasul Allah by Ibn Ishaq, the earliest biography of Muhammad, Muhammad asked Kinana where the treasure was hidden. Kinana refused to speak. He denied knowing its location. But a Jewish man came forward and claimed he had seen Kinana walking around a certain ruin every morning. When Muhammad confronted Kinana with this, the tribal leader still refused to surrender the gold. This is where the holy mission takes a dark, investigative turn.
According to the records of Ibn Ishaq and the historian al-Tabari, Muhammad did not turn to prayer to find the gold. He turned to tadhib, torture. The sources state that Muhammad gave a specific order to al-Zubayr ibn al-Awwam. He said, "Adhibhu hata tastakhrija ma indahu." Torture him until you extract what he has. Al-Zubayr didn't just strike him. The historical record is graphic. He kindled a fire with a flint and steel on Kinana's chest until the man was nearly dead. Imagine the scene. A battlefield interrogation, the smell of burning flesh, and a prophet waiting for the coordinates of a gold stash. Eventually, the pain was too much. The location was revealed. The treasure was seized. And Kinana, once he was no longer useful, Muhammad handed him over to be beheaded.
But the heist of Khaybar wasn't just about gold. It was also about al-Safi, the prophet's choice. In the spoils of war, there was a woman named Safiya bint Uyay. She was the daughter of a chief and the wife of the man Muhammad had just tortured and executed, Kinana. History records a strange business transaction here. Originally, Safiya was given to a soldier named Diya, but when Muhammad saw her beauty, he wanted her for himself. He traded 7 camels to Diya to acquire her. Let's do the math on that. In 7th century Arabia, Safiya was purchased from a soldier for the price of 7 livestock on the same day her husband, father, and brothers had been slaughtered.
Usually, Islamic law requires a woman to wait 3 months, a period called iddah, what the right hand possesses. Muhammad only had to wait for 1 menstrual cycle. However, some traditions suggest he didn't even wait that long. On the way back from the battlefield, while they were still in the shadow of the fortress where her family died, Muhammad pitched a tent and consummated the marriage. Anas ibn Malik, a companion of Muhammad, records in Sahih al-Bukhari that the followers were so confused they didn't know if Safiya was a wife or a slave until Muhammad draped his cloak over her. The holy marriage was finalized while the blood of her tribe was literally still drying on the desert floor. In modern terms, the revenue from Khaybar is estimated to be worth millions of dollars annually. Muhammad had successfully created a perpetual wealth machine. He didn't need to trade, he had the oasis. He didn't need a business, he had the dhimmi, protected subjects paying for their lives. As investigators of history, we have to look past the religious poetry and examine the actions. We see a pattern here, a specific target, the Banu Nadir gold, the use of extreme physical torture to locate assets, the immediate execution of the male leadership, the acquisition of high-value women as spoils of war, a 50% permanent tax on the survivors. Is this the behavior of a man purely focused on the afterlife? Or is this the blueprint of a highly sophisticated warlord who discovered that divine revelation is the perfect cover for a hostile takeover? The shade of the spear was a very profitable place to stand.
If the creator of the universe wanted to guide humanity, would he really need to use hot coals on a man's chest to find a box of jewellery? Was the Battle of Khaybar a victory for God, or was it the greatest heist in the history of the Arabian Peninsula? The records are there. The sources are Sahih, authentic. The gold was real. I wonder. Fakir fil amr. Think about it.